1045 The Team, 1045theteam.com. On the phone, Sam Benson. We used to talk to him only about lacrosse, but he's out in Utah working for the Deseret News, so he's a big fan of Jimmer like we are here in the Capital Region. Sam, he was mistreated by Kurt Rambis, wasn't he?
Yeah, you could put it that way. I feel like he could have fit very well in the Knicks system, but was never really given an opportunity to show his talents. So that's the way you could put it, yeah.
What is the fan support of Jimmer like in Utah still? Obviously played at BYU. Is he still a deity out there?
Oh, for sure, for sure. BYU fans worship him just like they did back in 2011. Utah fans, it seems like every year they hate him more and more, which is weird because his senior year he put up, I think, 47 on Utah at the Huntsman Center in Salt Lake City and was exited with a standing ovation by Utah fans. But every time he played for Sacramento and came to Salt Lake against the Jazz, he would get booed and booed. But, yeah, there's tons of support from BYU fans. They still love him. They still worship him, you could say, yeah. And he's an icon for sure.
Do you think he deserves to get another chance here in the NBA this season?
I believe so. That's the main reason he went into the D League, is because he could have gone to Europe and made lots of money. But he chose the D League route because he believes he's an NBA player and that he could fit with an NBA system. And the Knicks, I honestly believe that the Knicks system would be one that he would really excel in. But with Rambis as the head coach, he didn't really find a place for him, and he struggled with that. But I do believe with his skill set, shooting is becoming a key for so many teams. You look at Steph Curry, and teams find it a place for a shooter, regardless of maybe their defensive liabilities or whatever. But I think he'll find a home eventually. When
we talk about potential fits for Jimmer down the road, if it's not going to be in New York, could he fit in Utah? I mean, would the fans welcome him back to play for the Jazz? They booed him as an opponent, but would they welcome him back on their own team?
It's questionable. I feel like the Jazz have had their opportunities to pick him up, and just from a marketing standpoint, he would be a success hands down, because there's so many BYU fans that support the Jazz. But it is an issue. They have a crowded front or a backcourt right now, and they've had their opportunities, like I said, to pick him up. And if they were interested, they would have. So I don't think that's really a possibility right now.
Sam, we have to ask you a lacrosse question before we let you go. You were over at Bleacher Report. Now you're freelancing all over the place for lacrosse. Albany doesn't have no Thompsons on the team anymore. Can they still be a player on the national scene?
It's questionable. I've seen 2 of their games so far this season, and with Lyle and his brothers, they would really go to them for their offense. And now they have a lot of other players that need to step up. They're young. But you look at their schedule this year, and they're going to have opportunities to showcase what they can do. So I do believe they can make a national splash, but they're going to have to do a lot of growing and progression as a team.
So Denver won the national championship a year ago. How big is that for the sport to have somebody west of the Mississippi able to win the national championship, and ultimately how much will that help the sport grow?
Oh, it's huge. It's amazing. I'm working on an article right now, a feature about Westminster College's lacrosse program, which is based in Salt Lake City, Utah. And they're just really picking up. But they view Denver as maybe a blueprint for the success they can have. And Denver was the first national championship team in Division I west of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. So it's really an East Coast sport, but it's starting to progress. And you see teams popping up in California and Utah and Colorado. And it's going to help the sport a lot. You look at club lacrosse right now, the NCLA, it's booming in the West. And eventually once travel expenses and that type of thing can pick up, you're going to see a lot of more Division I teams joining Denver in the western United States.
Sam Benson, Deseret News in Utah, talking all things Jimmer, but also, as always, talking right in his wheelhouse, talking about lacrosse at the college level, and Albany trying to get over that Notre Dame hump in the NCAA quarterfinals, and they're at home again tomorrow as well. So Great Danes back in action early on this season. Sam, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.